Yo, what's up, guys? Give me a second. Just want to make sure. There we go. Got my chat up in YouTube. We are live on there. Alright, let's take a look at the charts. So, anybody who's not aware, tomorrow is President's Day. U.S. markets are closed, so this is a holiday weekend. So I don't know how much spice we're gonna get from Asia tonight, going into tomorrow, which is still like considered like a Sunday for us. So we'll see what they want to what they got planned. But based on last week, we were dumping all last week in most assets. And then we got a bounce on Friday. We had some CPI data that came out, and you saw the markets had a little bit of a reaction. I'm gonna go back to the S&P. Let's just talk about this real quick. So let's just get rid of all the indicators. What's going on, everybody? What's up, Rich? So look, you can see we started the day on Friday down, and we actually started higher. We pulled back, and then we started to bounce towards the end of the day. Now we did pull back a little bit on Friday, right? We pulled back at the end of the day. That could have just been selling going into the weekend. Maybe people just don't feel comfortable holding, shares into the weekend, holding risk. And I can completely understand that. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me. So we're going to see how it's opening. So far, we've got a little bit of a bounce since CME opened. And, the futures markets have opened on. And we're getting a little bit of a bottom here. So what I'm curious to see going into tomorrow, and I just want to show you that on the 1 hour. But you can see the shape that's getting formed. What I want to see going into tomorrow, and it's really going to kind of be like, I guess not tomorrow when the markets open on Monday. But I think they're limited hours. They might be limited trading hours tomorrow, so they may actually be open partially. But I'd like to see if this high at around 68.8 to 6,900 gets broken. Can we pop this high? And it looks important. This is why it's important on the hourly, right? So it's kind of my plan going into the beginning of the week. Can we break that high, or does that high remain resistance? If we start to fade, could be something like that. But if we could pop back above this, we could come attack some of the liquidity above. Maybe back up to 69.30, maybe 69.40, that area. Come back up here, back test, take some of this low volume gap back, and then roll over. I mean, the trend has kind of been down for the last couple of days, right? See what I mean? Like, starting to slope down. So what would be crazy if it like got back up here and did one of these maybe. So ultimately, I think if I'm being 100% honest, I could do iron. I'll get to everybody's requests in a little bit. I just want to kind of go over the markets, what I'm seeing, kind of get like a weekly overview so we can plan it out. A lot of us do, a lot of us in my group that are watching, we do swing trade, and we scalp throughout the week, and it's good to know what's going on. So look, for now, everything's good on the S&P, but we start losing this 67,930, 93. I'm sorry. Things could get pretty bad. It could start to drop down to the 6,700. Lose that, we're coming down to 6,500. So right now, it's going to be a make or break week. I think the next few weeks we're going to find out really which way the market's headed. So like this is kind of like where it's, this is the range, and at one point it's either going to do this, which I think is less likely in this point, or it's going to do this and start to break down. So ultimately, that's kind of what I'm watching for this week. I want to see what the S&P does and which way it takes markets. Let's go look at gold and silver real quick. Then we're going to look at some Bitcoin. Then we can get into some requests. So gold, look, pretty simple. I could show you on the daily what's going on. I just want to clean up some of these candles real quick, guys. Oh, we just got started. Oh, it says I'm live. That's weird. Anyways, gold, guys. We put in a high around 5,600. Our support right now is around 4,400. That's where we got that bounce after that massive move down. I have been tracking this trend on the 4 hour for quite a bit of time, right? So since the 1st of February, so like 2 weeks ago, we started to trend up. We're starting to form what I think is a little bit of a rising triangle, or potentially this could just be the start of a breakdown. So simple for gold this week. We're getting tight. There's going to be some resolution. Gold either is going to break up or it's going to break down. What I'm thinking is, look, if it does start to pierce this trend, I'm looking for a back test to take this short down to at least 46.40 for a scalp maybe this week. That's not even a scalp. I lied. That's a pretty big move. More of a swing trade, but like I would be looking to enter like on a day trade, and then hopefully maybe run this down. If I was day trading it, I'd be basically looking to run the range. You know, if it broke down, look for the back test, and just scout my way down. If you're a swing trader, you're looking for, you know, a little bit bigger of a swing, then you're looking for that. Now on the flip side, if it continues to hold this, right, we have two things that could happen at this level. Could do this, break out, and then continue to mark up and go attack the all-time high. This is the line in the sand. 5,100, let's just call it that. That's the line in the sand for gold to get back to its all-time high. So if we get a successful breakout with closures and we get a back test or something like that, or some confirmation, it could be a nice pump up. The one thing I would be a little bit like weary of and wait, I will look for the trap. That they're going to break out, trap some traders, and then close back down and then run it down. So that's something you could watch at that high around 5,100 in the coming weeks. If we don't, well, coming days, actually, I'm sorry. So those are the plays I'm seeing on gold. So gold's is at a make or break zone. So we're going to see what gold's going to do. Silver probably looks a lot worse than that. It does. So silver, we're still fighting on silver in the value area or the volume profile. We're losing POC. We're coming down to the value area low around 74. 73, 74 needs to hold. If we can't hold that level, it's probably coming back down. I mean, back down to at least 70. 70 is the big support. I'm going to get rid of this volume profile. Let's just look at what it is. If we lose this level, we deviated below, but we never closed below it. If we lose this level, it's coming down to 54. So 70 is the big support. But we do have a little bit of a bounce around 70. So 70 to 74 is probably going to be like massive support for it. But if we lose that level, I mean, like I said, it could be a fast move down for silver. You know, could come down just as quick as it moved up. See how fast this just curved up? That's pretty aggressive. So I think it would come down the same way. Now look, on the inverse, if it could put in a higher load, we have a chance of a potential inverse head and shoulders that could break us out, right? That's what I'm watching for, but that is kind of like, that lines up pretty much with gold breaking this high and going for its all-time high again. It's the only way I see silver makes a move. So silver top hits 3+4 sigma. You saw silver topped easy. Oh yeah, silver's definitely topped. It's just whether are we going to get a bigger back test, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to use this for example, like a fib pool. So we got a back test off the 382, right? On silver. That's where we're sitting as. It's 382. It's just like a how much did it retrace? If it's really bearish, it's going to roll over right now and it's not going to go up. But like a lot of times they will make their way back up to back test, you know, put in like a slightly lower high or sometimes even slightly higher high. I think in this case, I don't know if we'll get all the way back up here, but I think $100 could be a target if we can break to the upside. And it would still on the macro, right? That's the crazy thing, right? Let's say we went up to $100. This little breakout happens, we get up to like 100, 105. On the macro, like on the weekly, it still would be a lower high. Like it would be one of these. You know, like it still comes down end of the day. It's just whether we want to push up a little bit, trap some traders, get people convinced that, you know, it's going up again, and then they run it down. Or they just roll it down from downhill from here. So we'll see. We'll see. A lot of people in here watching, guys. By the way, my name is Eddie. I am a trader from Tactical Edge Trading. We have a website, tacticaledgetraders.com. Feel free to check that out. Links are in the bio. If you're on TikTok, you can check that out in our description. Tonight we're just talking about the markets. I did an overview on the S&P, gold, and silver. I want to go take a look at Bitcoin. Somebody asked for it. I'm going to take a look at it, see what's going on here. So look, let me just get rid of a little bit of the TA I have from old. This is me trying to like find little like the low earlier. I was trying to spot for a low. So I'm going to go to the daily. Let's start with the daily. Let's start with the weekly. We'll go to a clean chart with the weekly, and then I'll come back to this one. So, did we get anything crazy? No, not really. I mean, that was our weekly close, right? Was it higher than the previous weekly? Well, yes, on the wick side, but the body wasn't anything impressive. So, it kind of leaves a lot of room for question, are we forming a local bottom? Maybe we're going to get a little bounce. I mean, it's tough to tell. You get to the daily, look, this is resistance on BTC. You got that 71 up to 72K. That's going to be resistance until it's not. And then we have a little bit of a higher low situation going on here down at 65K, right? So if we can hold this low, maybe we make another attack at this. As long as we don't lose this low, I could see maybe us coming back up. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll come back down. I don't know what is going on with my drawing tool. It is not working right now. But for now, the major support is 65 on the daily. That's our daily low. We start losing that, and then we have to start worrying about this thing happening. A downtrend to come attack this low here around 60K. But for now, we're okay. Market structure is still to the upside on the lower time frames. It hasn't really flipped on the higher time frames. Yeah, we need to break this high for the daily market structure to flip. So that would probably take us up pretty high. But if we can get back up above 72, I mean, you're looking up into this zone here at a minimum, the next level. Maybe you get up to 83. There's a potential, but right now it's what's the first move? What does Bitcoin do in the immediate? So I think it's more of is it coming down? And if it is, are we going to hold the key levels? It's it's kind of that time, if the bulls are going to step in, they need to do it now for Bitcoin. For the night, yeah, I mean, but look, here's the thing. You take this trend from down here, right, and run this up. We do have a little support on that trend, but it's not established yet. Let's keep this real here. It hasn't had 3 major points of contact on a higher time frame yet. So it's just it's speculative at this point at best. So, but the problem the issue I'm finding with this trend here on BTC, right? So we have this low here. The issue I'm having is even if I pull a fib here from this impulse all the way up to here, I can go to my 4 hour and show you, and it shows the same, right? We do have the 618 here around 67.4. Kind of lines up a little bit with this trend. That could be an area of a bounce if we are going to go down, right? Maybe we do come down here. My problem is if we wick below this trend, obviously we invalidate it as not being a trend, but you could still come all the way down to this 786 and still come back up. That's a possibility, and that would invalidate the trend. So if you're playing just the trend that's not, it's not confirmed yet, you have to be mindful that if it does break through and bounce, don't be surprised if you get stopped out, if you went short or something, because I've gotten caught in that trap plenty of times. The more taps you have on a trend, the more established, the more respect you give it. You don't give it respect until when it has 2. Get what I'm saying? What's up, Ben? Smash that show some hearts. Bro, get in the Discord. These guys will save you years of tuition fees. Yeah, appreciate that, Rich. Yeah, man, I know a couple people that are doing really well right now. They're in they've been trading for a few months, and some of them are profitable already, bro. And it's crazy to say this, man, but it took me almost 2 years to become profitable. I think I hit break even after a year and some change, and then from break even to actually making money and keeping that money and not giving it all back, it took me another 7 months. And I know people that are 3-4 months in, and they've skipped all that fucking pain and anguish and bullshit I went through. So, and that's just because they had mentors, they had people around them that have done it, and they were able to just show them yo, fuck this shit, skip that shit. This is what you focus on. This is how you do it. This is how you build wealth. And like, I'm telling you, dude, that shit. If you're interested, join the Discord, join the website, tacticaledgetraders.com. That's all I'm going to say. If any of this stuff is making your ears like, like ring a little bit, then you should check us out. So anyway, on the lower time frame, right, on BTC, let's get back to the real TA here. So I'm still looking down here, right? I'm still looking down at the 67 down to possibly around 66.5 for a higher low. Potentially could still form. But let's talk about the trend. What is starting to form? We're starting to form a downtrend here. See that? Yeah, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. You can actually see a little bit more predominantly on the 15. So for tonight, I think we are coming down. I think we're a little more bearish in the immediate, like in the interim, like the shorter term. See this flag right here? We're breaking down from that. Simple bear flag too. Like if you just draw this here. By the way, Nick gave this out earlier today during we had a 6 p.m. CME breakdown group. It was about an hour run by Nick. And he talked about this short. He talked about BTC coming down a couple hours ago before Tokyo even opened up. So I mean, if you were in that group, you would have known about the trade. That's how I heard about it. And I was like, let me go check it out. It does look a little bearish. And then I did, and I mean, I'm in a nice little short right now, and it's playing out. So I'm happy. Anyways, so that's like the ultimate. I think BTC is coming down. And where could it go to? I mean, like I said, those were our big levels. The big levels were really around 67.5 and around maybe down to this 66, 67. We could still form a higher low around these areas and still get that bounce. But for now, until we break this trend for me on the shorter time frames, I'm not interested in longs. I'm more interested in shorts. So that's kind of my analysis on BTC. We can see where VWAP is, and I'll bet you we're underneath VWAP too. Look at that. We are. VWAP's up by the trend. So it pretty much just this kind of reinforces what I just said. Like until we break this trend, aka also VWAP right there, it's no reason to get in long. Maybe you could play mean reversions back, but that's a shorter game, and that's not really my type of game. I like to catch those nice little big impulsive moves. But yeah, that's BTC, guys. I've tried to break down the higher time frames and the lower time frames. So, but there is a chance. Like, look, man, like we got to break this level to go higher, and for now, it's short term. We're coming down. So we just roll with the punches. I had a bullish bias Friday. Today I have a bearish bias. It's crazy, but that's trading. That's a range. It does look like it's a range, but it's not confirmed yet. We can't confirm the range until we have a couple touches. Top side, yes, you can confirm as resistance, but on the lower side, we really only have this one tap right here. Like, you don't even have a second tap. Like, it's hard to call anything a range. But, yeah, it's a bull market. Shorting him equals free money. Gold dump. Is gold dumping, you said? No way. Is it really? No, not really. So look, let's talk about this actual gold trade real quick. So if this is a bear flag right here, let me go to the 1 hour, right? If we lose this trend and this is just a little big old bear flag, right? What would the measured move be? Flag pole takes you down to about 47.50. That's a good trade. That's a $250 trade on gold. So what I would suspect is this, right? If we lose trend, that's confirmation. If we break this bear flag, that's confirmation and we're going to lose the trend. That's probably confirmation we're coming down to this level here around 46.5. But what I'm saying is, like, look, a lot of times these things will come down in waves, right? So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll consolidate a little bit more and then pop another one of these bad boys, right? I don't know. This is just me kind of speculating a little bit. So this is not tradable stuff, guys. I'm just saying. Ignore that. There we go. Something like that, maybe. We see gold do something like that, make its way back down into the range. And not perfect, but I mean, I could see something like that playing out, right? What platform is that you're using? That's just TradingView, bro. It's just TradingView, my friend. Sorry, I'm looking on the chat. Somebody wants XRP. I see it spammed in there. I can do some XRP, guys. Gold dump. All right. When we buying? Depends what you're talking about, ads. What are you talking about? If you're talking about gold, I probably wouldn't buy gold right now. If you're talking about crypto, I'd say later this year, probably in the fall, most likely. Look at Bitcoin coming down. Anyways, somebody asked for XRP, so I can only imagine XRP is doing the same thing Bitcoin's doing. If Bitcoin's coming down, it's probably coming down. Shocker, there it is. So look, XRP, I'm going to give you the same analysis I give on XRP every time I give it. As long as you're below this level here, this you're bearish. Your ultimate target right now, I'm going to show you on the weekly. You're getting hung up because you're starting to break back into like the previous all-time high, right? But really what's going to happen, see how this candle went straight up on the weekly? Look at that thing, right? Straight up. You just lost the only support you had between this 48.50 cents and this like $2-3 range you were in. So I think ultimately we are coming back down to this level here. I think we're going to make our way back down there at some point this year. Wouldn't surprise me though if we did something like this where we would make our way back up into this level, back test it, and then run down. Now look, why would that work out? Why is there confluence? Look at this trend. I've talked about trends, and they make sense because they're simple. People can see them. There's no complicated shit. It's not ICT where you have fucking 80 million different terms for fucking something simple like a trend line or a back test. 2K. ETH never goes up, does it? No, ETH doesn't go up. You're right. It only goes down. So maybe something like this on XRP. We get that little. If BTC decides it's gonna, pull back a little bit or make that little pump, let's say up to like 75, 80K. I could see XRP getting back up here, testing this 180, 190 area, back into this trend. This is pretty much where I would be looking for shorts. If it did back test into this 180, 190, I'd probably start loading up for a short. And ultimately, that short would probably be all the way down to this level here. I would start at $1, and I would probably start to ladder out at $1 and maybe make my way down to 50 cents. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm literally going to take that short just to show you guys when it does get up there. But I'm not going to take it from here. I'm going to wait till it makes its way up. But look, in the interim, in the short term, what I just said, I think it's going to make its way up there eventually. But it just depends on what Bitcoin's going to do. Right now, we got a little bit of a trend possibly forming. We haven't confirmed yet. Lines up a little bit what BTC's doing. BTC's not down at its trend yet. It's just above it. Alts tend to front run BTC, so they're closer to their trend than BTC is. So this is all depends on what BTC wants to do. If BTC starts to dump out, this thing's going to dump out too, and it's probably going to make its way back down to $1 at some point, and then ultimately down to that 50-cent level. So right now, this trend is your livelihood. Like if you're a bull or if you're long like bias right now and you're trying to catch a move up to like a move up in general, this trend is really what you need to hold. If you did slip this trend, look, there's a little bit of hope, but I think it becomes a weaker hope. You have a little bit at like 134 of support this low. You could maybe do something like that, come back up, and then I've seen that work out where they'll sweep the whole range before they run it up higher. You know what I mean? But ultimately, if you lose this low, you're losing structure on a higher time frame. You're losing daily low. You're losing a 4-hour low. So it's not good. So that's my XRP, guys. Are we really gonna come back after we hit lows? I'll be honest with you, man. Hey, what's up, Trendon? I'll be honest with you, dude. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not coming back. That's why I'm not messing with alts right now. Like, what is MGC? Oh, micro gold futures. MGC. Which one is it? This one here? I mean, I just went over gold, dude. It's going to be the same analysis as gold, essentially. I don't want to like fucking bore you or anything like that, but I'll keep it real simple with you. Actually, this looks a little bit more bearish. You could argue that it's right on the cusp of like losing this trend, right? But you also have this high here. And you can see it runs all the way back to there. Look at that high. It's been respected. So this 5100 level is the ticket to the higher price, to your all-time high. You break that, you open up the floodgates to make your way back up here. What happens at the all-time highs? Who knows? Maybe it'll wick it and double top and run down. Maybe it'll blast through and keep going. And we'll get that 10K gold everyone's talking about. Now, if you start to slip this trend, man, like it becomes more likely that this is a bear flag, dude. And like if I just take this trend away, right? This looks like a bear flag. You got an impulse after a failed breakout, right? They swept the range here. Look at that high. What'd they do? They swept it, closed back under, impulse down. Now you're getting a bearish back test. I'll bet you money volume's low. Look at it. Say volume's fading. What does that tell me? As price is going up, right? Volume's fading. That tells me that they're selling into this move. This is a sucker. Like I would say there's higher probability this is a bear flag and this breaks down than this just rallies up. Based on everything I'm seeing now. Now, could that change on Tuesday when the markets open back up in New York? 100%. But as we're seeing it now, that's what I'm looking at. So I would say this is a little bit more leaning towards the downside. I would say like a 65-35 towards the downside. That's my probability right now on this. And I'd say once it breaks that trend, I'm going to be honest with you, once this trend breaks, like truly breaks and we can confirm a closure down there, it probably switches more to like 80-20, that this thing is going down. To like attack lower levels. But yeah, I mean, like we were saying, the first level is like, this is a bear flag, right? First level, down around 4,800. And it could still put in a higher low, but on the lower time frames, it will be shifting structure. It also would be losing a 4-hour low. And if this high, swing low, lower high, if we lose this low here, that's a market structure shift on the 4-hour. That's usually like when I start to get swing short, when I start to see those 4-hour shifts. So I'll probably be looking for shorts on this thing. I think the play I was talking about was this. Like I don't have the confidence right now to just short gold on a trend or a break. I would wait for something like this to go short down to maybe here or maybe down to here. There'll be nice little targets on gold. Oh, this is micro gold futures, the same shit. Play the same stuff, just has a different spread. Pepe, you want to look at Pepe, bro? I mean, we can. I'm not gonna say no, but damn. Okay. All right, man. I'm gonna give you like the volume ain't doing shit right now on the weekly, right? So this ain't whatever this pump is not real. Like let's just keep it 100. It's not a real pump. You got support right around that level there on the weekly. That's what you're hitting your head against. It's now resistance because you're on the underside of it. So that 5-0, I'm not going to say how many zeros it is, but it's 524, somewhere around that level. So let's just call it 5 even, right? If you can get back above that, there's a chance you pop up a little bit. You can see right here the next level up is kind of this little resistance up here around 7.3. So if you get back above this, you target these highs here. And if you can break that, which I don't know if you will, but if you do, you start to target 10. That's the next level right up here, right? But if you start to keep rejecting here, what do you think is going to happen? Well, you're probably coming back down to the 3s again because that's the low, tap, tap. And then ultimately, you're probably going to make your way back down here. Because the one thing I will say about Pepe, you had a low, high, a lower low. If it puts in a lower high here, I expect them to come for this low here and take that. So, but hey, man, look, that's daily, that's weekly, right? You got an impulse, right? You had your impulse, and you had a bull flag that broke out. That's played out already. It's played out in full, like an extra, right? It's a meme coin, so it runs up pretty high. It took out a 4-hour high, which is good. 4-hour market structure shift. As long as it can hold above this low here on the 4-hour, it could still run back up bullishly. So it's not like all hope is lost on the lower time frames. Just on the higher time frames, we're up against major resistance. You also can argue there's a little bit of a trend here. Maybe this trend, right? You got 1, 2, 3 touches, breakout. Maybe we could come all the way back down to this trend, right? We are finding a little bit of support here on this level. So if we lose this level, we're probably going to make our way back down to this trend around 3.8. Maybe we could do something like that if we do get a little more bearish. Otherwise, I'd be looking for bounces around here. This wouldn't be a bad spot to look for a bounce. So, I mean, it's a daily level. And again, remember how we were saying that BTC is on its way down, but a lot of the alts already made their way down. I go down to a lower time frame. Let me get rid of some of this shit. So, I mean, it's already broken trend technically. Look on the lower time frame, but I don't trust that. This looks sus. There's no market structure yet, but you could be flagging out maybe. Could get something like that. Anyway, that's not real TA, guys. This is underdeveloped. We have to wait and see. There's no real market structure there to. So that's just me going on the lower time frames being a degen. But those are your levels on Pepe. Ondo? Yeah, I can look at Ondo. Absolutely. Apologize. I already looked at SPY and gold. If you guys want to, it's recorded. You can actually go back into the beginning. Those are the first 3 I did. So within the first like 10 minutes, I did those 3. So I did a pretty good analysis on them. I actually went over gold again. So I'm definitely not doing gold again. Y'all know my plan on gold. All right, so look, man, Ondo. Ultimately, dude, like, look, the volume doesn't look bad. I'll be honest with you. The volume on Ondo is starting to pick up since this low, right? I've been pushing into this support, this wick. It feels like it was destined to come get this wick at some point, right? And they did. They came down, they grabbed that wick, and then what they do? They wick below it, SFP, break back in, reclaim it with a back test, and we break out from there, right? So right now it's kind of just following suit with Bitcoin. It's pulling back. So look, do the same thing. Everything kind of looks exactly the same. You pull a trend and you watch that. You got a trend from the low. You got multiple touches. It has a little bit more time to come down here. Now, what else do we have here? We got this level right here, right? We hit resistance, resistance, resistance. Boom. Finally, we break it, right? Why wouldn't, it would make a lot of sense to come back here and retest this. So 26.3 could be a good area of support. If it starts to break below that, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. Like, it's probably coming back down to this 24 level at minimum. And then there's a potential, if it loses that 24.5, it could be just going down. This may have been the back test, and it's going to run down again. But that all lines up with, like, BTC rolling over. So I think for now, there might be one more push down, it looks like. Or at least one more attempt down. Because you can see we're starting to roll over here, right? On the higher, lower time frames. You can see you're starting to roll over a little bit. Just like BTC is. So maybe there's one. Look at that bear flag. Would take us directly down to that level. Not a bad scalp if you ask me. Just saying. But look, hey man, you hold these levels, right? If you don't, that's the bearish side, right? If you can hold this trend, and if you can hold this like 26.5 level, I think you come back up here and you retest these highs again, right here. I think you have a good shot at getting back up to 30 cents. And if you can break, based on the market structure right now, right, on the higher time frames, let's just go to the 4 hour, just the market structure on the 4 hour. If you can break this level, I mean, you open up the gates to go back up to 32, maybe even like 35. I think the highest I see this thing going, if I'm being 100% honest, is maybe back up here. Like, in like a really, like BTC makes its way up to 80K just to retest maybe 79, 80K. There's a lot of liquidity up there. I see maybe 36 cents this thing gets back up there to retest it, because I don't think it's going to take any like major levels. Like, it's not going to come back up here and like, fucking maybe, dude. I'd eat my words if it got back up to 64 cents, but that's like the next major weekly level I can see. But yeah, dude, that's Ondo. NQ, yeah, we could look at NQ. I didn't look at NQ yet. So that's fresh. Yeah, ignore this. Hey, can you wish my friend Gabe ICH a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Gabe Ick. ICH. I don't know if that's I said that wrong. But yeah, happy birthday, Gabe. How old is he? Or she? Let me pause now for Ondo. On Ondo? Yeah, I gotcha. Plume? I can look at Plume. You guys got some DGen ass plays out here. But let me do NQ first. This is a little bit more, not going to say more important than Plume, but yeah, it's more important than fucking Plume, dude. I'm sorry. All right, so let me just go back to the bear. Let's just go fresh chart. Start fresh. Look, daily, we had a low back in the tariffs. Like when the tariffs came out, the whole market's just dumped. And there's a trend. We lost that trend. So that's like 0.1 for the bears, right? You have a high. You have a low. You're starting to put in a lower high on the daily, right? My guess is if we don't hold this level right here on Qs, you're coming for the lows again. You're probably most likely going to, there's a good chance you're going to break it because the market structure is starting to shift on the higher time frames, right? So maybe, I don't know. Probabilities are stacking up for this is looking more bearish. But maybe it does. Maybe we do get like a little curveball this week, right? Everyone's getting too bearish. Maybe they do something like this. Bring it up a little higher. Maybe we attack the highs again, right? What have they been doing? Like, they've been... Look, I'm just going to show you real quick what's going on with the volume here. All they're doing right now is ranging. Like, in the last, few months, we've just been ranging on this thing. But what have they been doing with the volume? What's the volume been doing? Steadily coming down as price has been pushing up, right? You see that on the weekly. What's momentum been doing? Look, I'm going to get rid of this real quick. What's the momentum been doing? It's coming down on the weekly as price is pushing up. They're selling, dude. Like, people are offloading right now, and somebody's getting suckered into buying this shit. That's just my opinion on that. I'm just going to say it straight up. Hims Eddie. Yeah. I'm just saying, people are getting suckered right now. At least that's how I feel. And it could look, like that's the thing. They're just stacking. Every time they put a high in, it's like they sweep that high, right? And they were doing it back here too. They're starting to do it again, right? Look, they swept the high, they came up, and they dumped. Now look, they put a high in, they come up, they slightly take it again, come back down, they take that high. They're stacking short up here, dude, and they're not like... This is still protected up here. I would be crazy, though. I would love to see something like that if they did come back up here one more time. Oh, my God. And that's just asking for a lot. That's like asking for like one more dip when you're at the bottom already, right? But like if they came up here and they did this, I know Ben likes to trade NQ. I'm sure he'd be all about this shit. Boom. Fuck everybody over right there. Catch a little SFP fake breakout. Everyone thinks everything's going to go bullish, and then bang, drop that shit down. That'd be pretty badass. But like that, I think that's like the only way that happens is if we take out this high up here. So I'm just going to give you the levels. Stop with the theory talk. 25,380 or 380, yeah. 25,380. That's your resistance right now on like the higher time frames. On the daily, that's your daily level, and that's a 4-hour level that we've been struggling with, right? You're low. Let me clean up the chart a little bit. Get rid of this shit. You're low right now. You got two lows right now on the 4-hour and on the daily kind of starting to form. So you have this low here at 24.6, 16, or 160. 24.160. I'm so used to saying 4 or 5 numbers right now when I'm doing stocks, not 5 or 4 numbers. Anyway, look, you got this low forming here. So that's immediate support around 24,500. But if you lose that, let's say this continues down, that's your main support, man. If you lose this thing, you have a little bit underneath you, but I just have a feeling if they come this far now and grab this, I feel like they're just going to run it down a little harder. It just feels like this is going to be easy target. People are going to try to go long here. And they may run that down a little bit. Like, cause see how this was originally a liquidity sweep. If you're looking at this like a range from a range play, right? This was originally a liquidity sweep of this range that started to establish here. They swept it, then they ran it back up to the highs and never took the highs, which that's the weird thing that they never took the high there. But they did take these like previous highs. So if they came all the way down here after like the market structure kind of flipped here, right? I feel like that would probably happen. You get like a push through just because you're stopping out a bunch of people that have like stop losses down here. Because you look at this, right? Qs. See these right here? See how people are built like we're building longs, right? Building longs. None of it was really getting stopped out. And then the minute this broke, what'd they do? Just capitulate it down and took out like the previous lows as well. So I don't know. Seems like they're going after liquidity to the downside right now. So this is probably going to be the target at some point in the coming days, my guess. But those are your levels, man. Those are your levels. Sorry I went all into that. It's the only ticker getting volume. CDNS. All right, I'm going to look at that. Then Plume. Sorry, I did silver already, guys. You're going to have to check out the first like 15 minutes of the stream if you want to go back on YouTube. So let me go look at CDNS. Cadence Design. What the fuck is this? Oh, shit. I couldn't even tell what I was looking at first. It was like, I'm on the daily and it was so close. I'm like, Jesus. All right, man. Look, this thing looks like it's freaking in a straight up uptrend. I mean, like, there's no fade in it. You don't need me to tell you it's bullish. But all right, look, let's just talk about it, right? So this trend has been going on multi-year since 2020. Actually, it's been going longer than that, but this trend that we're actually on is about a 5-6 year old trend. So my guess is when we get down here, there's probably going to be some support there. You know what I mean? Like, I could tighten this up a little bit. There we go. It's probably going to be respected as support because of how far back it goes. The longer a trend like dates back, the more respect it gets. Just like I was saying, when you get like multiple touches, but it's also a double-edged sword, multiple touches on a trend, because the more times you hit a trend, the more likely it is to actually break too, which is fucking weird. Or like if you're hitting a support or resistance, you're banging up against it. But I think it has to do with more multiple succession. So like if you're doing this, just a quick learning moment real quick, guys, right? So look, you're trending up. If you're doing this where you're low, high, low, high, that is healthy. The trend is intact. The more times you hit that trend and you're continuing to create higher highs, you know, it becomes more of like more respected. But when you do this, that's why I just want to like define. If you start to do this, see what I mean? You start to hit it multiple times in succession and you're starting to like fade and like you're not creating new highs. That's when the trend becomes compromised or starts to get weaker. So I just wanted to just kind of clarify that. I know I got a little confusing with that, but anybody who's actually listening, trying to like digest anything I'm saying, that's my reasoning behind that. But look, that's your trend support, dude, on this cadence. You have, which could be bullish consolidation, right? Like you're coming down in a straight line like here. Looks pretty good. You had your little high. You probably are bouncing off a golden pocket now. Yeah, you're bouncing off that 618786. So let's just put a box here, right? Just a little box. That's our golden pocket. So that's like the fib area. Does it make sense to bounce there? Well, one, yeah, it does, because look, we have that 6-year-old trend we talked about. What else do we have there? Well, let's go back here. Look, we got a daily low right there that lines up there as well. It also happens to be the last bit of liquidity that we didn't go back for. So, and I'm sure there's some type of fair value gap somewhere. Oh, look at that. Fucking look at this stupid shit. I fucking hate this. We got a gap, guys. You know what they say. They always come back for these CME gaps. So we got a lot of confluence down here for them to come back for, right? It's an imbalance they left behind. So what I would say, I'm not fucking including that CME gap. That's just mayhem right there. So look, if price does something like this, you're good, right? You get a bounce, you start to consolidate, you break trend, you start to flip structure again back to the upside. That's when you know like the trend's still intact and you continue to go. If it starts to break trend or like do that little dribble thing I talked about and lose this trend and you can't get back above this, it's probably time to sell and get the hell out. That's just my thing. Because look, once this trend is breached, the next big level down, and like, look, I can get rid of some. I'm just gonna get rid of all the TA except for the trend. The next big level down is right here. It's like down in this like zone back down here, right here. Like that's where you're going. You're coming pretty much between here and this low here. That's your next two major levels. So like you got 221 and 190. So anywhere in that zone is probably where you're gonna dip down to if you lose this trend at some point. Like, you know, and then maybe you'll get a back test. Maybe it continues up, but that's the bottom of the range too. Like this is just a giant range at the end of the day. So this trend will be your first sign that things aren't bullish as they were once. So just keep an eye on that. I don't want to get all bearish on it. But yeah, but you got the bullish and the bearish. You know what to look for. That's CDNS. Someone asked for Plume. I'm gonna go look at Plume, although I don't really have much of a. Is this Plume Crypto, or are we looking at Plume something? There's no other thing. Plume. It's fucking Plume Crypto. What am I talking about here, guys? Right? So Plume don't look that hot right now, man. Damn, Plume got fucking smashed. You know what's funny? When we were talking about Plume was back here. We were trading Plume at these levels. This is fucking that's not even the oldest chart. Let me go to fucking MEXC. MEXC's got further back data. We were trading Plume back here at these levels. I remember Ben was all into this shit. I think he caught this move here. Bounced up or caught one of those moves, but yeah, Plume's been fucking beating this shit, man. I'll be honest with you, I think this is a dead project. It's safe to say that how far down it's come, it's pretty much zeroed out at this point. I know not a lot of cryptos are down, but I think this is down way worse than everything else. There's like no liquidity left in this thing. So like your support really on this thing, dude, is 0.009, maybe 1 cent, maybe. That's about your support. So let's say for now, like just watch what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues up, maybe this thing catches a little bit of a bid. But here's what I'm saying. Like, remember how I said some of those altcoins were sitting on trend? Some of them were a little bit above trend because Bitcoin's still making its way down to its trend. This thing's already broken its trend. So it's weaker in comparison relative to every other coin we've looked at in crypto so far. So like for me, I'd probably stay the fuck out of this. If you're looking for longs, stay out of this one. I'd say go find something else to probably have better luck. But yeah, it's already losing trend, man. Like let's go back to Bitcoin. See how Bitcoin's above trend comparison? Look at ETH. ETH's actually a little weak right now too, so I'd stay away from ETH. ETH looks like shit. See, it's starting to lose that trend. But then when we looked at something else earlier, like XRP, I think XRP was above its trend. Let me just double check. Yeah, see, XRP is above its trend. So you can see there's relative like strength amongst the alts. So you want to play the stronger ones in an uptrend. And if it's in a downtrend, you want to play the weaker ones. I mean, it's weird, but yeah. That's kind of what my thing on Plume, dude. There's not much to say on that one. I honestly wasn't even going to look at it because I had a feeling it was going to look like shit. All right, so Micron, pretty simple. We talked about this, I think, on Friday. It was when I did this TA on this. So this one's pretty fresh. So, look, we had a trend back from December. We lost that trend, right? We caught a bounce around 360, 361. We came back up, and this is a daily chart, by the way. We put in a lower high on the back test of that trend. We failed to break back in. This thing is coming down. Question is, does it come all the way back down to this level and maybe try to maybe does do this and, continue to hammer away? We don't know just yet. But what I will say is on the higher time frames, if you were looking for a swing trade to the downside, this is an entry model for most breakout retest traders. They'll be looking to take this here. Now, where does it confirm that the trend is down is when this low gets lost around 361. So if you're looking for like I guess a safer bet to take like a daily, like on a higher time frame, you're looking for this to break down here, and then you're looking for the next lower high to form, and that's where most people will go swing short. So, but for now, I think it's a little more bearish poised, but it's not confirmed like downtrend on the higher time frames. Because if you go to the 4 hour, look, 4 hours in a confirmed uptrend, because you had a low, a high, higher low, slightly higher low, and then you broke out. So it could still be bullish on the lower time frames, but bearish, it's starting to set up more bearish. On the higher time frames, it's starting to set up more bearish. So those are your levels right there. I'd say watch. You got a little support here, right, on the lower time frame. Little support around 394. Look to see if, I think this wick's probably going to get filled again. Look to see if you hold. If you lose this wick, very good chance at some point you're coming back down to this low. Because there's no way, there's nothing really there between this. Because you lose this is the range. We're trading like this. And then it broke out. And if this doesn't happen, this is going to happen. You get acceptance back into the range and make your way down. And you lose this low, I mean, this shit gets this thing gets nasty on the higher time frames. I mean, you don't have any support till you get down here around 3-something, around 324. But I think the real support comes down here if you're looking at a weekly. It's all the way down here around 255. So, hey, man, that could be a sick short. I'm just saying. Hopefully you're not long, because I feel like a dickhead. I'm talking all this fucking bear shit about it. Moo ETF. What the hell is Moo? Okay. Shit, I gotta go to a higher time frame for this one. It's a lot of data here to digest. Okay. So you have a little bit of a monthly downtrend, or uptrend, sorry. You had one deviation here, right? It's not super clean, but it's there. It's like on the higher time frames, it makes sense. And you're catching a little bit of a bounce off that trend now because you wick down below it and you're reclaiming it, right? So that's a monthly move. You had a bull flag. You're breaking out. You had a downtrend. You broke that. So like everything is starting to stack up right now that this move makes sense. It's a real move. You had an inverse head and shoulders, right? Like those are all the confluences that say that this is a real move. Because you're, trend, good level, good market structure, on the monthly, that you just broke a monthly market structure. So the higher time frames say up. Now the question is, do you pull back? You're starting to get to a monthly high. So I want to just mark this off, then we're going to drop back down to the weekly, right? So those are your levels on the monthly. Go down to the weekly. Probably the same levels, yeah. So higher time frame, like you're looking up towards around 88 for resistance. If you can break that, man, it starts to get up towards $100. You get close to $100 when you get up there. You can see if you just drag this over right here, when you break 88, like look back here. When you broke 88 before, you flipped it, established a support, and then you ran up to a little above 100. So if it does the same thing, right, I would imagine the same thing happens. Maybe we come up, maybe we do a little bit of a flagging out, just like we did, right? Trend is up, flag, and then maybe you pop up, catch some support, and then maybe we see what happens. It maybe does that, or maybe it'll just pop up and then reject and come back down. And then put in like a macro lower high, right? Little macro lower high that could take us back down to the trend to start to show that the trend is weakening. But we won't know. We'll see what happens. Those are kind of the levels on Moo. I'd watch this one on a higher time frame. It seems to be moving. Like if you watch it on a 4 hour, you're probably bored as fuck because it's not moving a lot. Like it moves like 3-4% in a few days, which is not like great when you got like Bitcoin that can move 4 or 5% in a day. Like, no problem. Um, by the way, guys, I'm going to give a little quick show out. My name is Eddie. I am a trader at Tactical Edge Trading. Check us out. We are a group of traders, like-minded individuals, all aspiring to basically, buy back their freedom. Like, some of us want to be full-time traders. I'm a full-time trader, but I do have some like side hustles on. But like we have Ben's a full-time trader, Nick's a full-time trader. There's other people in the group that are like on their way to becoming full-time traders, and then we have people that just do this because, they're in the group because they enjoy the community. They enjoy what else? They just enjoy being around like this kind of stuff. This is like a hobby to them. But most people, I would say, in the group are more of like lean towards this is something they want to do to better themselves. So like you have people that are like casual. They like just want to be better in the markets, invest a little bit better. We have people that have retired that are trading their retirement funds to like live off the interest. And they're in our group and they're you know learning, spreading knowledge. It's just like a great place to network, meet some people. So check us out. We do have a free Discord. Not going to cost you anything. That's where you can hang out, talk to people, actually interact with us. We have a website with tons of free educational content. We don't gatekeep anything. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, resonated with you, then check us out. But if you're interested and you're enjoying the content, give us a follow on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube, and give us a like. You really do help us out. You help out the channel. It makes me feel good at the end of the day when I can go talk shit to Ben about how well I did on a live, that people really like me. He's not listening right now, but I just want to talk shit. And you can look, if you join the Discord, you can hear me and Ben talk shit, and we're just kind of like, what's that show? Do you guys ever remember Silicon Valley, Guilfoyle, and what's the Indian guy? They're always got this banter back and forth between each other. Anyway, yeah, that's like me and Ben. We're always fucking talking shit to each other. It's been good fun. So yeah, man, you're in an uptrend on this move. So just as long as the trend's up, I think 89 is your target. Anyway, let me get back to somebody asked for Spotify. That's a good one. I just came across your profile. Hood stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I appreciate that, low key. I gotta go look at Spotify. Then we'll look at SNDK, and then Iron. Actually, Iron. Someone asked for Iron a while back. My B on Iron. I totally spaced on that one. Look, Iron's pretty simple, right? You're looking for some type of local bottom, but we don't know yet. What I would say about this thing is it's probably, all right, could potentially be in some type of bear flag, maybe. We don't know yet, but like that's a potential. But let's just look at it. Look, potential trend down. We have a higher time frame support right around here, and we're finding support at this level right around that previous low. So I would say your support right now, your major support is probably anywhere from down to like 37.4 down to this wick low around 36.4. If you start to lose this, man, you're coming back down to retest this 33.8. Because of the way it looks on the higher time frames, because probably have some bearish divergence here at this highs, I would bet. Yeah, you do. Bearish divergence on the daily, probably bearish divergence on the weekly, maybe. You can't even see it on the weekly. There's no bear divs there, so that's good to know. But look, you got bear divs, right? And you got bear divs up here on the daily. So, question is, was this the low they were going to attack? There was a good reaction here, right? We do see that there was a good reaction. So like oftentimes when you see that kind of makes you think like, hey, there's probably likely going to be a bounce. But when these put these like weird inefficient lows like that, a lot of times they do come back for them. I hate to say it, but they do. But look, here's where I'm wrong. If this starts to break out, right, you got a little bit of a bull flag kind of maybe forming. If this starts to break out and takes out this high at 47, then you got yourself a 4-hour market structure shift, right? And then the trend is up on the 4 hours, so you expect to come back up and start to attack highs around maybe 55, potentially up to 63. So like those are the 4-hour levels if you can break this higher on 46. So just keep that in mind. Ben's texting me. Sorry guys, I'm gonna go look at this. Probably something about how my stream is fucked up. Hold on. We do have. Oh yeah, that's right. Hold on. Let me go show you guys real quick what Ben put together. It's pretty legit. Over here, right? Where is it at? There's an order flow course we just introduced. Ben's talking about. I want to pull it up on the side. I'm going to do this on the side while we go through this stuff real quick. But yeah, man, that's kind of what I'm looking on iron, right? A little bit of a bull flag there. What else did you guys say you want to look at? Iron, and then there was SNDK, SanDisk. Fuck, dude, this looks like, I mean, here's pretty much this, dude. Wasn't a real bullish move. Yeah, you might be right. Hold on. Gotta enter the portal. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just pulling something on the background so I can show you guys what I want to was talking about. It's making me log in a full course. Gotta verify who I am. And training grounds. Yeah, Ben, if you're listening, just send that to me, dude. I can't find it right now. I'm in the middle of a stream. Can't hit me with that stuff last minute. Sorry, guys. I was trying to pull something up. There was something new Ben added to the website. It was about order flow. He wanted me to mention it. He did like a whole new thing on order flow. He did courses on it, so like that's how he likes to trade. He loves order flow. I highly recommend check out the website and go check it out. If you like Delta, you want to know any about order flow, like that kind of stuff. Like Ben's been working with some new indicators that, like, you know, I'm putting together his own like way to find confluence, to find trap traders and that kind of stuff, and figure out which way things are moving. It's, I don't know, man. It's like, here's the way I can describe it. If you're looking at an like imagine the market, what we're seeing in the charts. That's an iceberg. Right now, you're looking at the tip of the iceberg. Order flow. There's delta, like CVD, all that kind of stuff. Like that's below the surface. That's what's below the water. Like the majority of what's happening. It tells you like what's really happening, and like the real size of the iceberg. And in this case, it's the market. So that's the way I would describe that. So if you like understand basic charts and understand, like, you know, trends and market structure, like order flow would really open up your game to a new level. So check it out. I wish I knew how long did it take you to learn how to trade. It took me about honestly, to learn like TA, like it's a couple months. But I mean, to learn how to trade took me about, I would say it was about a 2-year journey to really like be comfortable trading on my own, making money, not knowing I wasn't gonna blow like my entire account every time I like jumped at a computer. So I was like profitable after like 2 years. But yeah, trading's a journey, man. You can everyone's journey's different. Like, you know, what may take someone longer could, one, be because some people learn at different paces. People come from different experiences, life backgrounds, discipline levels. You know, some people struggle with addictions and like have a gambler's mentality. They're going to struggle a little bit more with trading, with the discipline side of it. So someone who's like come from like a very disciplined background and can like really control like those impulses that you get, greed, fear, all that kind of stuff, they're going to do a lot. They're going to learn a lot better and succeed a lot quicker in the markets. But the way to really speed it up is to honestly just like cut out all the bullshit, have direction, get the blueprints, really. Join a Discord, dude. Join our Discord if you want. We have a lot of free stuff out there. It's all stuff that I know works. I've traded with and it works really well. So let me get the SanDisk. Sorry, I'm going like off on a tangent right now. So SanDisk, guys, look. You got a little bit of a trend to the downside. You have support around this 540. Yeah, I mean, look, if it can't get back above this trend, I think ultimately it's probably going to make its way back down to this low around 540, 535. It looks like it could be putting in maybe a range, but look, it's either this, and then we see, does this hold? Do we continue to like do this until it picks a direction, or it's this? And it comes up for the highs around 720. Maybe it finds support here at this level we're looking at around 614. You see it's like a previous high. We broke it. We flipped it. Maybe we do find support here. That's what I was saying. That's one potential. But if we lose it, I expect to come back down because that was a previous range. We got acceptance back in there. It's probably going to make its way back down. So that's your if this then that scenario on SanDisk. I've looked at silver already, guys. I'm sorry. You're going to have to just check it out on, we'll check out our YouTube, Tactical Edge Trading Academy. You can find the links actually in our Discord if you like. Join our Discord, and it's probably on our website as well, tacticaledgetraders.com. And then you can actually watch back the video. It's all recorded on YouTube, so you'll actually be able to watch back the video, and you can get the analysis on silver. Yeah, I've already done gold too, so same scenario with gold. Check that out. Bitcoin about to confirm its 66,500 drop on the 1 hour. I hope it does, dude. I'm short. I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm short. Let me go look at my trade real quick. It's not really that much in profit though, unfortunately. I got a shit fill today. I tried taking a short earlier, and then on my one exchange I got a good fill, and then on the other exchange I got a really bad fill. I did TA on Pepe actually. I'm not even joking, dude. Go rewind back. I did TA on Pepe. Funny enough, man. Ben who? Ben is Ben's with the creator of the group. He's the creator of Tactical Edge Trading. Tim and Nick, they started it up. They brought me on board a few years ago. And yeah, man. Ben's been in the market for about a decade. He's made very good money. He's a full-time trader. Makes all of his wealth, all of his money from trading. He's got 7 kids, and he lives a good lifestyle. So that's all I'm going to say about that. You put 2 and 2 together on how trading's been lucrative for him. You can kind of do the math on that. And I know a couple other people that are doing really well. Nick's another full-time trader. I got a call looking to see if I can go RMBS. I'll check out. Somebody asked for Spotify. I got to hit Spotify, then I'll hit RMBS. Because I did say that I would do Spotify. Just curious to see how Spotify's been doing. Oof. Rough. All right, so look. From your bear market low, that's your trend. All right. Now look, the trend obviously pulled away. Price action pulled away, and we created a new trend right here. And we lost that. So trends can steepen, and they can, break down. That's the other way they're working. But look, when you break one, you usually go to the next if you have multiple trends like this. So I would say this serves as temporary support. I wouldn't say put too much weight into it, but it does line up with like this high right around here, right? So maybe, just maybe, you get a little bit of support in this area here. It's going to draw 2 boxes there. You can see we chopped around. So if we made our way down to this trend, maybe there's some support around 380, 366. I'd say in the short term, I don't know, man. This thing is straight down on the weekly, so I wouldn't fade this thing and try to catch the falling knife game. So I would wait for it to like actually bounce. But like maybe right now, man, the trend's down, dude. Your immediate high right now on the daily is this high you just put in the other day on Friday or Tuesday. It was actually. How was that Tuesday? No, it's Wednesday. That makes sense. So that's your high. 502, 500, psychological number. If you can break 500, you look up towards 560, maybe up to 600 as your next area. This box right here, right? That's where like what I just do. I just changed my chart. Anyway, you're looking up here, up into this area here next. If you can break above this level here, you're probably going to get chopped up a little bit around 515, but because the way it's set up, if you break this, you're probably taking all of the liquidity. You're probably going to start to make your way up. But to the downside, look, there's a lot of reasons for this thing to go down as well as go up, because one, look, we left the CME gap behind and we haven't filled it yet. You can see it on the daily because that was there. Like, did we fill it after? No, we never filled it. So there's a CME gap right there. So keep that in mind. Label that gap. Keep in mind they could come back down to fill this, and then we see what happens. If they fill it and just run through, then you're looking back down to these lows. But my guess is if we attack these lows again, you know, there's a good chance because we put in a lower high on the daily, we could expect to come back down and actually take out the next level, which will line up with that 384. So that's just me thinking out loud. But look, it does look like it could be a potential bear flag on the 4 hour. That's a pretty strong impulsive wave right here, right? So maybe it holds, maybe it doesn't. Let me see what it looks like on the 1 hour. Yeah, I'd watch this, man. I don't know. This is a tough call here. I don't really see too many. I wouldn't even trade this on the lower time frames. I would trade this on the higher time frames, man. If I were you, I'd be waiting for this level down here around 385. 385, 366 are like the two levels I'll be watching below. Anything above that, I think you might be running back into the red for a little bit. Spot buy algos. 467. Spot enters buy algo over 460. Takes seconds to analyze most stocks. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at a lower time frame, sure, I could see why. Because it gaps up a little bit, but I wouldn't fucking do it. I don't like the market structure on it, dude. And it just lost the macro trend. Like, I mean, I think this thing, maybe it front runs that level, but I've a lot of times when these levels get front ran, they usually do come down and hit them eventually. That's cool. Stock Market Channel Network. If you know how to analyze the market, why are you watching me? I don't know. I never understood that. Let me explain to you something, guys. I have my own system. I have my own TA. It works for me. I am not telling anybody to go take any trades out there. I'm not telling anybody to listen to anything I'm saying. I do analysis based on what I've seen and my experience and what has worked. Based on statistics, based on probability. Doesn't always play out like that. Your system may be different, you know? But I'll tell you one thing I don't do. I don't go watch other people do TA. It's just not something I find very amusing. I will go watch other people because they're entertaining. I'll watch people because, you know, I just like their vibe, you know what I mean? Or like I watched them in the day and it's nostalgic. But I don't watch other people's TA to tell me what the market's going to do because it doesn't match up with what I think. So I don't know, man. If you're coming here to shill your system works better, then I think you got other bigger things to worry about in life. Just throwing that out there. It's the beautiful thing is I get a voice. He gets to type in the chat and talk shit, but I get to just voice out how I feel. I think I usually can win that way. Odds are in my favor. How much was the last drop? One flat, just software stocks. Yeah, software stocks, everything's getting hit hard right now, dude. Tech's starting to get hit, man. Did you guys see, look. Let's go look at NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA's getting ready to pop down, dude. It's starting to look like a head and shoulders. This is my play right now. This is what I'm praying for. I don't think it's going to happen. But in the off chance that NVIDIA, right? See how it's kind of putting a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern in? We had that big wick down, and what we did was this. We basically started to break some of the built-up liquidity here. So we're starting to basically chip away at the dam, and the floodgates are about to open. If this fucking trend breaks again and they take this wick, this thing is going to dump hard. I think 154 comes pretty quick, and then maybe you get a bounce up here, but I think ultimately you get down to like 130, maybe a little lower. I have some levels down here that make a lot of sense. 618, all that kind of stuff. But this is what I want to see happen on so I think this is poison up bearish. And if Nvidia dumps, guys, tech's coming down. Like AI's coming down. Like it's all going to shit for a little bit at least. Good buying opportunities, so don't get too crazy about it. But look, if it came up here and swept this high, look at this. You got 1, 2, 3 daily like taps at that high. If they took all this liquidity and closed back under, I would fucking turbo short this thing. Let's look at the drop. What would that be? Down to the low would be a 15% drop on Nvidia. That wouldn't be too bad. Down to here would be like 22%. That'd be a nice trade. Yeah, respectable trade. RMBS. What is Magma? Schmegma? Dude, if that's a fucking altcoin, I'm not looking at that. Sounds like a fucking meme coin. I'm not looking at meme coins tonight. Fucking Schmeg. Actually, I'm gonna go look at that now because I need to know if it is a meme coin, just so I can talk shit. Oh, dude, look at this thing. All right, I mean, look, it's trying right now. All right, so look, we got a low here. We had a trend. You're still above that trend, right? Arguably, but you're still above this trend. Like, bucking barely. That's a weekly chart. So look, as long as you're above this trend, you're solid. You can't get bearish. But if you start losing that trend, you start losing this lows right here around, I would say, between 90 and 92. Things are not looking great because that's the range low right there. And you can see why. Look, it ran over there. The next major level doesn't come till about down to 80. That's the next big levels down here. And you can see why it's a big level because, look, it's the last previous high. And we really never had a proper back test. So if we lose trend, that's the next logical place on the higher time frames for us to make our way down to. So just keep that in mind. But now, look, we haven't lost trend yet, so there's no reason to get super bearish. You're putting in your first bullish sign, right? You had a low on the trend, which was still higher than this low here. This is daily. So there's a low, higher low, and now you're putting in another 2-candle expression, higher low. So if you can take out this high at 111, there's a very good chance it's probably coming back up to retest some of these highs up here around 130, maybe 135. Very good chance it's going up there. Potentially could even continue the trend up. We don't know. I don't want to sit there and get ahead of myself. I play it level to level at the end of the day. I could sit there and pretend like, oh, if we break this high, you could play the game. Breaks this high, it goes to here, and it goes to, you could play that game all day. I prefer to just play it like level to level, and then if it does break this high here, then yeah, you're back in price discovery and you see where it goes. I mean, you could even argue that this is like a nice little like bullish consolidation, and if you break this high, it lines up with this trend, right? Lines up nicely with this trend here. Break that, break the trend, get a back test, run up. Like I've seen that play out a lot of times, so we'll see. I don't want to pretend like it has to happen, but what's up, Parker? Yeah, it's slowly declining. Yeah, I agree, man. I think tech's coming down. Bubble had to break eventually, right? Definitely had to break. Hey Ben, did you catch my rant? Talking about people coming to like watch my TA who know how to TA already. I'm like, who the hell wants to watch another person TA if you got it? If you're successful in the markets and you TA and you make money on your trading style, you shouldn't care what anybody else says. You should only watch somebody else's charting to see like maybe they got an eye on something. Maybe they found a chart that looks good out there, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know about that. Because there's so many different things you can trade, so many different stocks, indices, You got Forex, you have commodities, you have crypto. Like there's endless amount of things you can trade. And like it's hard to find all of those things. So sometimes you follow some guys who have good picks. They find things like little hidden gems, like a chart that's about to gap up 40, 50%, you know, some small stock. You know, those guys I follow, but I'm not following to find out like, oh, when's he going long or short? That's just fucking stupid. Or is his TA better than mine? Like, who cares, dude, at the end of the day? If you're profitable, you're profitable, bro. Like, the only person you should be in competition with is yourself. And that's the truth. If you're a real trader, that's the only person you care about beating is yourself. You always want to strive to be a little bit better. Sorry, that was like my TED Talk moment there. All right, guys. So look, I'm gonna give you like I have a lot of lines, a lot of boxes here, but they all mean something. So look, let's just talk about the April 25th low. That's the tariff lows, right? When all that tariff shit happened back last year, we bottomed out there. The whole market bottomed out there. Crypto, everything. We've been established on this trend for quite a bit of time. And what has happened on Amazon? And this is why I think S&P, NASDAQ, they're all destined to come down because look, they all were doing the same thing. They were trending up and they were ranging for a bit and eventually they just dumped. They're all flirting with the same like fate. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's just inevitable. You had a head and shoulders pattern. You gapped down twice over the weekend. So it was basically retail dumping on the weekends. Twice it happened. And you left these gaps behind. So look, these are targets to the upside. If we do catch a bounce, where are we at right now? Well, we're filling a gap. We're starting to get near a gap that we left behind on this big move up the last time during the tariff news, man, back in the summer of last year. So look, it's starting to serve as support. So if they do decide to go fill it, you got maybe down to 195. So that's why I probably wouldn't short here. What I'd be more looking for is something like this to happen, right? Maybe we get one more little, a little bounce, one more push down. We reestablish this. We catch this as support. And then maybe we start to look to long if we can reclaim this. So I would wait for the sweep to fill that gap first and see if we can reclaim this level around 197, 200. If we can't do that, then it's probably just going to keep going down, man. Probably going to come back down to this level here. Back down to 164. I mean, it's already lost the trend. This is the last major low after you lose this. But I do think you're going to get a little bit of a back test because normally when you get these big push down, eventually you do come back and take things back a little bit. Because just like when look, just as it was going up, it was like, look, it wasn't going in a straight line. It was kind of making its way up, Have big pullbacks. The same thing could happen on the way down, You could have these big push-ups, right? Like boom, boom, boom. And then eventually it'll flip, and then it'll run back down. So that's how markets move, usually. Unless you're trading fucking meme coins. What did somebody ask me for earlier? That's Amazon, by the way. So really look, dude, you're looking for support around 192, 195, right? If it can't hold that level, that little play I talked about, maybe a little sweep, a bounce at that level, then you're looking up to 210. If you break 210, you're looking to 220, and then it just kind of climbs up. Stack these gaps, watch these gaps. They're probably going to be attacked at some point. They're going to be levels of resistance because otherwise this is just a single print down. You're not getting much resistance or support there, but these will serve as resistance and support. So keep an eye on that. What's that other fucking... Somebody asked me for something really stupid. I said I wasn't going to do it, but now I have to go look at it. Schmegma. What the fuck? It's not even a thing. I thought it was real. Prime Air. What is Prime Air? BE. Let me go look at BE real quick. That's a big boy. I was talking about this one before last week. I think it's already... look, if you're swing shorting this, I think, yeah, you're at a good level. So let me just clear all the drawings, right? So let's look at it from like a monthly standpoint. Higher time frame. There's your previous high, right? You went up, you tried to break out, you didn't really you closed above, and then you came up, swept that liquidity, and you came down, and now you're starting to lose that previous high. So on the monthly, it doesn't look good. On the weekly, it looks just as bad. Like you have multiple wicks up there, but no real closures, no real conviction to mark up past this high. They were just it just felt like liquidity grab after liquidity grab, right? And we're starting to get acceptance back in here. Now, what happens if we get acceptance back in here on the weekly? Well, where's our support? Our weekly low, our first real weekly low isn't even until here. But then we have another weekly low down here around, let's say 76. So anywhere between 76 and 84, 80, yeah, about 84, that's real support for you right now on the weekly if you can't get back above this 148. So that's your weekly level. Now let's paint the picture on the daily. What do we see on the chart? What's the chart screaming at you right now? It's fucking Head and Shoulders. Look at that shit. Like, it's so obvious that it's probably going to play out. Straight up, man. Sometimes when they're so obvious, it's like, here's a little trick, guys. Here's a little tip. If you're the only person that can see the magical pattern, or you're the only one that can, find that secret level, then I promise you it's probably not going to work. Why do levels work? Why do patterns work? Why do trend breaks work? Why does all that stuff work? It's because it's like a self-foretold prophecy. These levels work because a bunch of people are looking at them. These patterns work because, one, it's how the markets manipulate them. It's like how the market makers manipulate price action to show, like to basically reverse. They trap traders. They use this as like a model they use. It's like you can read about that. I'm not like too big on it, but Nick can like fucking really like, in a good way, talk your ear off about it, like to the point where like he'll make you understand it, like you can go explain it to somebody else at some point, even if you had no knowledge about it, because he's just very well versed in it. He can break it down to a 2-year-old if he needed to. I'm sure his kids know half the stuff he talks about. But look, this is the Head and Shoulders, right? So if you start to lose this level around 136, 137, I mean, it's going to probably play out. And it's probably going to take us down. Maybe it would take us back down to this low here. Look, that's the next level. You do have a gap here. It could be an easy target if you're shorting, right? So how I would short this is just me. If you didn't get it up here, unfortunate, right? I'd go down to like my 4 hour. I'd look for my 4 hour high, which right now, this is not really a good high for me because the trend is still down technically from what I can see on market structure. So this is the high I'd be looking for. So if this high got swept, I would definitely short up here because look, you have all these highs, like all this liquidity up here that's just been stacking. Come sweep all that and then catch a short there. That'd be freaking juicy. But that's like, that's a gift if we get that. That's how you have to treat that. That's a less likely scenario to get that one last. I think what will end up probably happening is you'll eventually break down. You'll probably take these lows and then get a bounce. And then you'll attempt to try to break back into this resistance or this previous range, the neckline. This is probably where I would look to short. I would look for a rejection, and then I would look to find some type of like divergence or some type of identifiable way to catch a short. And then I would target down here. I would target this gap. That's how I would trade this. You can maybe target a little bit before the gap around 120 if you want to be real conservative. Well, this is a swing trade, by the way. This is not like a scalp. But, yeah. That's Bloom BE. Looks like BTC is getting a little bit of a bounce off that trend. I gotta go check this out real quick. Sorry, guys. Important stuff. Two seconds. Just gotta establish that I'm real. TikTok wants to know. They're asking me if I'm real or not. All right. Well, I just moved my stops to break even on my shorts as well because I don't want to be in a trade if I don't want to lose money tonight. I'm cool breaking even. The goal is not to lose money. I think a goal of every trader should be not to lose money, right? Anyways, so I just want to do a quick analysis on BTC. So we were talking about it earlier, right? So we're approaching this trend, but what are we starting to see here? We're starting to see a little bit of a higher low form on the 1 hour. If I go to my 15-minute, right, potential a little bit of a range starting to form here, maybe. This is the high up here. I'll just draw a box, make it simple. Potentially a little bit of a range we can watch. Could be something to trade, Look for sweeps of the highs, look for sweeps of the lows of the range. I could trade something like that, but I think eventually we're going to make our way to this trend and see what happens. Maybe we get down here and something like that would be cool. Be a nice little trade. Where's VWAP at? That's going to probably dictate a lot too. We're at VWAP. So, look, this is how Asia likes to move the market, right? I'm going to give you guys a little insight on Asia. You go down to your 15-minute. Now, this is just 15 minutes market session VWAP, right? So, look, I'll show you the settings on it so you can see what I'm talking about. So, right, inputs, 15-minute time frame. It doesn't that you just want to. I usually keep it wait till time frames close. So anytime you pop your VWAP, it'll automatically be on the 15. But you can look at this on the 1 hour and it'll still show VWAP in the same spot. But I'm going to demonstrate what I'm looking for to go long based on the way Asia likes to trade. So assuming, right, this is going to try to flip bullish tonight. What they're going to do is this. They're going to break through this dramatic. They're not going to just pop their heads through and then come down. They're going to do something like this. If they're going to flip bullish, they're going to pop through and then they're going to almost like a whale jumping out of water, right? And then they're going to come back down here and splash. And if the splash holds, they're going to run up. So let's just think of like a splash. It was coming out of the water, surfacing, boom. Anyway, whatever. It's going to break out. It's going to back test. I was trying to get some type of analogy going. It bombed, I'll be honest with you. Anyway, that's what I'm looking for. I would look for the back test, and then I would target the range highs. Probably around 60. You could take a scalp up there, but I think around 69.2, 69.190 will be a nice scalpable range from VWAP up. That's how Asia typically they trade. When they're trading, they like to use the VWAP as their launch pad to the upside and the downside. So what broker do I use? I don't actually use a broker right now, man. I'm using a prop firm, Brightfunded, and I also use 2 crypto exchanges, but you can trade stocks and indices and commodities on the one, BTCC, and then I use BidFi for just mostly my crypto heavy BTC trades because they have the best fees. So those are the ones I use. But we're actually working on getting a brokerage right now. We're trying to we've got a bunch in the works within the group that we're talking to right now. We're just trying to find the one that works the best for us. That's going to give us the best advantages. Not all exchanges, not all brokerages are created equal. They have rules, they have different fees, they have things that could really work against you depending on what kind of trader you are. So we have to vet them all before we even show anything out to our community. Not show, but recommend anything to our communities if people are interested. So anyways, what's up? What's your insight on ETH? I don't know if BTC's bottoming. We're watching for a bottom. Could be bottoming on a 15. But we don't know. It really doesn't confirm until this high gets taken, dude. But I would say I would look for a higher low to form maybe above VWAP somewhere. If we can break VWAP. That's how I would take it as a trader. But if you just drew this as a fucking look. Just draw this as a fixed range. It's back inside the... It's back inside the range. It's going to make its way back up to the highs. So that's usually how those work. So let's go look at ETH. ETH's a little bit more on the bearish side. I would say that... Let me get rid of that. I would say that this trend's not really that great, so I'm not going to use this trend for ETH, but it's struggling. Like BTC is above its trend. It's catching a nice bounce. Also, this trend line got shifted up really bad. So if we were playing the same thing on ETH, right? The same trend lines based on the way BTC went up, ETH's relatively weaker. But what it didn't do is it didn't lose this low. So this like 1900 low, it didn't lose it. So I guess what I'd be watching for on ETH is for the break back above this high. This is my first sign that things are bullish. This is the 1 hour, right? You got a high right around 1980. Now, if you can break back above this high, you'd probably gain acceptance back into that trend. That'd just be a deviation or like a little liquidity grabs, shakeout, bear trap, whatever you want to call it. And I would look for something like that. And then if ETH does that, then I would start to watch the levels above. I would say I'd watch up here. Just same thing with Bitcoin. Start looking up towards 2100, maybe 2150. It's probably going to make its way to attack those highs there. Flip side, if ETH can't get back above, let's say ETH starts doing this, it's probably coming down. It's probably going to start attacking the low around 1900 again. And then my guess is it'll eventually make its way down here. Or bounce somewhere else. Maybe it wants to come down a little bit and grab this liquidity here before it makes its big move up. We won't know, but I think key for the bulls is to regain that level above that 1 hour high, to get that 1 hour market structure shift, and then you can reclaim that trend there. So that's real big for the ETH. But I mean, if BTC goes up, ETH probably goes up most likely. I mean, how can we tell? Let's go look at ETH BTC. I mean, this thing's in a downtrend now, so that means that it's probably better to be in BTC than ETH. If BTC is gaining strength against ETH, that means altcoins are about to start lagging again. Or maybe others are getting the rotation. I mean, others are starting to break out again. Anyways, that's like super technical altcoin stuff. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. That's like just Bitcoin pairing with like Ethereum and like ratios and stuff like that between like the dominance charts and stuff to see like the market cap ratio. And like it's a whole thing if you're trading altcoins, but I'm not really doing all that. What trading app you using? Right now, that's just TradingView. Use prop firm, that's it. I don't know if the one I'm using, Brightfunded, has any consistency rules. I think the only rules they really have, and this is the big one, man, it's like you can't have two accounts under them and do it like a hedge trade. So you can't like have two prop firm accounts under the same one, like evaluations, or like two regular accounts and then basically go long on one and short on the other. It's like automatically will like fucking lose everything. They'll take it all. I don't think you have to trade every day. I do think you have to trade every once in like, I think it's like 30 days. After 30 days of no trading inactivity, they'll basically cut your account. But there's no real consistency. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Can't trade big news events though. Red folder events on like Forex Factory. Any of those big news events, like you can't trade within 5 minutes of the event. So you have to at least, or it's a half hour actually, not 5 minutes. With a half hour. So just give it a half hour before you jump into a trade. A lot of them are usually around 5 minutes to a half hour. You usually have like a little bit of a buffer. They don't want you jumping in on news events and getting wrecked. It's good practice though. A lot of the rules are there to protect you, but people just, they're also there to weed out the people who have no discipline. I mean, looks like we're getting that break on BTC here, guys. So, Jaden, I'm going to actually end it on this, and I'm going to probably jump, guys, because it's been about an hour and 40. I'm a little tired. So, and I'm sorry if I didn't get any of your tickers. Just if I missed some of your tickers, what I can recommend, look, if you want to learn to trade, or if you just want to get me to chart some stuff for you, check me out tomorrow. I'll be doing lives at the same time. Just bring your ticker. Make sure you're here early. I stream at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're here early, there's a very good chance I'll get to your ticker. Towards the end of the stream, it starts to get a little bit iffy. If you're looking to learn to trade, man, I would say check out our website, tacticaledgetraders.com, right? I'm going to show you the website real quick so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Check out our website. It's free to join. Tons of educational content. See, there's the website, Tactical Edge Traders. It's free to join. We have modules that will teach you how to trade, what mistakes to avoid. Look, Ben's created a bunch of different little modules: psychology of money, personal finance, and there's a bunch of videos in there. And he talks about these things. They're like lessons, essentially. He put together lessons like he was teaching a school. And this is all free stuff. None of this is gate kept. So that's where you would start first. Then what I would say is, I would then say is join the Discord. There's actually a link to join in there as well. That way you can be around real traders, people like myself, Ben, Nick, and a bunch of other people. That's where you want to learn. Like if you want to become a carpenter or you want to become a plumber, just think of just any trade in general, any profession. Are you gonna be more successful doing it by yourself? Or are you gonna be more successful being around people who are more experienced? Maybe, that's why they have internships. Doctors have to go through like residencies and stuff like that. Trading is no different. You can learn these things on your own, but like to actually like really master this and like really like perfect it, you need to be around other people because otherwise it's gonna take forever. It's gonna take you so long, and you may never get it. Frustration may get to you before you figure out like you can actually make this work. Happens to 99% of people, I think, who try to go. I think it's like 98% failure rate in trading. So that means only like 2% of people actually succeed in this shit. So that tells you a lot about how difficult it is to get into it. So your best advantages are to surround yourself with people who've already been there, done that. You don't have to like learn from us, but like join a group, man. Be around people who actually know what they're doing, because they'll steer you in the right direction is the best way I can put that. They'll steer you away from all the pitfalls. If you're doing something, the hardest thing is as a trader is you're always by yourself, right? You're in your own head. It's you versus the market. And you're new to it. It's hard to tell sometimes if it's you that's, maybe it's just the market that day. Or is it you? And that's the question that's going to fuck with you as a newer trader. You're not going to know if it's you or the market. So being around more experienced traders, they can kind of like help you in there. Because they can like tell you, like, all right, let me look at your system, look at your trade. I go, no, this is good, man. Like everything you're doing is right. It's just every trade has probabilities of playing out and probabilities of failure. So there's always that chance of failure. But that's one of the perks. So check us out, man. And if you're not following, give us a follow on TikTok, YouTube, smash subscribe, hit like. It's free to join. There's no money to join, guys. We do have like upgraded like paid tiers. You can see all that on the website, but that's more for people who are more serious about trading. They've learned everything they need to learn. They've built a system, and they want to basically kind of have that accountability, and they want to trade live with us. And the live trading is more of a serious thing. Like you need to really know what you're doing. We don't want amateurs in there who don't even know, like they're going to be asking questions of how do you draw a trend line? Like that's not the place for you. If you're still asking those questions, you need to go back to like learning, go back to the free educational content we put out there. But if you're at that level where like, you're good, like you have a system that works, and maybe you're just not there profitable yet, or maybe you're having success, but you just have a couple things that are holding you back. That's where I would say go to the next tier. That's where you go to the paid group. Because then you're going to be around people who are doing this and who've been there. And that's where you're going to be like, it's like, that's where you have the like access to like more skilled, more, because we're not going to have to teach you TA, TA at that point. What we're going to help you with is like the psychology, execution, discipline, which is the big one. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Hit me up if you're in there. My tag is Unfair Philly. Let me know you're in there. Say what's up. But anyway, guys, I'm going to jump. I'll be on tomorrow, same time. So if I didn't catch your ticker today, tune in tomorrow, and then I got you, all right? Anyways, guys, later.